why employees don't follow procedures. Have you ever repeated yourself over and over and over and it was still not complied to? Have you ever thought, well, it's probably my employee, there's something wrong with him or her and they just don't follow my procedures? Well, I'll tell you why in this video. How do you know if it's your procedures or is it the employee if your procedures are not being followed? I'll show you how to know that. By the end of this video, you will understand the reason why procedures are not being followed and how to fix that. There are different reasons why employees don't follow procedures. And I can start naming them all, but I can tell you that the first thing that I always look for is the things that I can control myself, the things that I can be responsible for, the things that I can do something about it. And the first thing is to look at your existing procedures and ask yourself those questions. Are they clear? Do they contain all the information? Are they written in such a language that is understandable? If they are being followed step by step, would you get to the result that you want them to achieve? Those are some of the questions that you need to ask yourself. And maybe the first question to ask yourself is, do I even have those procedures written? If the answer is no, or not enough, or it's not good enough, or there is a room for improvement, then that is the first area that I will look at to answer the question why employees don't follow procedures. Because you want to assume that you hire the right people, that you have a good hiring process. I recorded many videos about how to hire correctly and how to create the best onboarding process. So you want to make sure that you have that in place, so by the time you have employees on board, you have the right employees. But let's go back to why they don't follow instructions. So you have to first of all look at what you are providing to them. How are you creating those instructions? How are you giving those instructions? Don't give it verbally. Give them those instructions in a form of a procedure. This is what's expected of you. This is what you need to be doing. So let's say you are talking to your production manager, you're giving them specific instructions. Make sure those instructions are documented in a standard operating procedure. So then your production manager knows that they have to follow it every single time. Make sure that they actually read those instructions. Make sure that you are reading it with them and make sure that you see that they can follow the instructions. Have them demonstrate to you that those instructions can be followed. So then you know that the instructions are correct and that that person has the ability to follow those instructions. That will probably solve a lot of the problems that you are having, because you will see at that point that there might be something wrong with the process, with the procedure itself, because it's always a process problem, a people problem, both. There might be something that the person just doesn't understand and they can't follow the instructions, so then you'll be able to correct them. Until you get that part done of having documented instructions that are correct, easy to follow and understand, and you see for yourself that the person can actually do each one of those steps one by one until you get the final result that you want, you won't be able to then follow up on why instructions were not followed. So let's get that done. Once that's done, and let's say the instructions are still not followed, then it might be a personnel problem. And then we have to dig into what's happening, like why you have the instructions on how to do it. You demonstrated to me on Tuesday that you can do it. Today is Friday, step number 5 was not followed. And it might be a very interesting conversation. It might be that the person will say, yes, that's true. Step 5 was very easy to follow when we did it as a role play in your office. But what happened is that on Friday, this and that and this situation happened that prevented me from actually doing step 5 correctly. And that's why the instructions were not followed. Or maybe I had an irate customer on the line and I didn't have time to get the signature because I could not deal with that person. Well, that's great. That's great information, because now we know that we need to write a procedure on how to deal with customers that are upset. Or what happened to begin with to have an upset customer? Maybe we need to solve that. Maybe that's the root cause. You see what happens here is that now you have ways to solve the situation, to wear your leader hat and solve problems that are actual problems problems, but not just this wide general problem of my employees don't follow instructions. If you do those steps, you will be able to get to the root cause and solve the problem. And the problem needs to, when you solve a problem, make sure to document it. Make sure to revise your processes and procedures so they also reflect the solution that you just found, because if this situation happened once, it can happen again, and it can happen to another employee and another employee. And that way, you have your anticipated problems already solved because they are documented as a policy or a procedure. But remember, in order to solve all those problems, you gotta have well-documented processes and procedures. So in my next video, I'm going to show you how to get those documented so they're very easy to be followed by everyone. See you in my next video.